All right, what up, people? It's your boy Chig from Gooner Eagle Eye, coming to you again with a brand new video. Now, this is the Arsenal versus United preview, and this is going to be a vastly different show from what happened 3 months ago. That's for damn sure. Joining me is one of my oldest friends in the podcasting family, and that's Stel. Say hello to the people, Stel.
I like how you introduce me as one of your oldest friends, like I'm an
Come on
old person.
now. What I mean is because people always, when they see me synonymous with people like Lee and Ola. And what I'm trying to let the people know is before there was a Lee, before there was an Ola, there was a Robbie and there was a Stel. There you go.
So you're basically trying to say that I'm older than the Bible now. Just keep digging a hole for yourself, mate. Just keep digging a hole.
Oh my goodness. You see how you know this. You can tell my man is definitely from North London. This North London sass. I tell you. Will not do.
No, listen, thanks for inviting me on, man. It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Of course. So
by the way, I love your listeners. I'm just going to say this because every time I come on, they're always complimentary. I do see the odd, oh, he's a fucking mank, which is normal. But, I try to call it down the middle and be as fair as I possibly can. I know they appreciate it. So shout out to everyone that's watching live or on a repeat or whatever.
I never know if you like the compliment. Oh, he's the United version of Lee. I like this guy. Do you take that as a compliment?
No, I do, and I'll tell you why. Because Lee and I are cut from the same cloth in the sense that we're old school. We've seen the good times and the bad times, and when it comes to the bad times, we're like, well, we've seen it worse before. I can give you names of Man United players that you would have never heard of, and I could have said they are shit. I mean, we've had some bad players like Jemba and Kleberson, and your fans will know.
So bad, he needed to be named twice for some reason.
There you go. The Jemba twins, as we used to call them. But I can name you players like Neil Webb and Mal Donaghy, and you'd be like, "Who?" I'm like, "Trust me, Mal Donaghy was terrible, terrible." But yeah, anyway. But yeah, so I don't mind, and I think it's because I went off on one of your shows about some of our players that weren't pulling their weight. In fact, it was the show in November, was it, when we played you at Old Trafford, the 2-1?
It was a while ago, and you were so down. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'll be real with you. In a very heterosexual way, I had a little bit of a stiffy. Just a miserable Man United fan.
Well, I'm glad to have that effect on you, Chig.
It could have. Listen, when it comes to hatred, top is them lot down the road, but close second is United. And if you were a 90s kid, you know exactly why. You had a lot of your Man United friends that always used to rub that shit in your face, and that was because they were that good. Even I have to admit it, I hate them because they were that good in the 90s. So,
I mean, I can't remember how old you are. You got to be like, what, 26, 27?
Oh, you bless you. Look at you, Charmer. No, man. I'm 34. I'm an old man.
You're 34? Get the fuck out of here.
Look at this guy. Go on.
So you remember the Sports Zone days, won't you?
Of course, bro.
Right.
Both of them as well.
Yeah, the one in Turnpike Lane and the one in Palmer's Green. I used to go to the one in Palmer's Green. The Palmer's Green one was, I used to call it Sports Home. That's what I used to call it. No word of a lie, I actually slept in that pub once, like literally overnight, and the owner didn't know because I was just knockout. And he woke up. I woke up in the next morning. I had the cleaner there going, "What the fuck are you doing here?" Like, they didn't have sensors inside, even though they did, but they weren't working. But I was so mashed.
The pool tables or opposite?
No, okay. So when you got them, okay. So you got the main front entrance, and on the left hand side, because you had the corner bit, because they had a big screen down the middle where they had karaoke. But it was around there. It was around there.
Yeah. Okay.
By the food machine.
Yeah. That takes me back,
bruv. Like, I could tell you, but see, this is the thing. Like, I'm getting all like nostalgic now because back then, when I used to go, the United-Arsenal rivalry was at its highest that it's ever been. I remember the Viltord goal. I wasn't at Old Trafford. I actually sold my ticket for that game, and I was there, and it was full of Arsenal. And I think it was me and a handful of United fans. And to be fair, it wasn't as in your face as what it could have been, because a lot of the Arsenal fans I knew anyway. I've been going there for years, so they knew me and they knew that I used to go to games like week in, week out and whatnot. So it wasn't as if like I was this Johnny come lately kind of thing, because it was Stel the United fan. You got anyone that used to go to schools and you said, you know, Stel the United fan, they'll say yeah, because I was the only one that was there that was getting songs started or whatever when there was games I couldn't go to. And it was really, it was fun. It was great. I mean, I remember watching United lose to Bolton when Mike Whitlow scored the winner. I had Arsenal fans in my face and this and that. But then I remember some games where, well, the fondest memory I could probably think of was the 4-2 when John O'Shea chipped the keeper. That one, and that for me was funny because the owner, the manager at the time, Tony, was a Burnley fan, but he used to be a United fan in the 70s. But he stopped supporting United when they sacked Tommy Docherty, because Tommy Docherty was actually shagging the physio's missus, and they sacked him for that. So he stopped supporting United. He started supporting Burnley. And when John O'Shea scored that goal to make it 4-2, I thought it was offside, because John O'Shea was just standing there. But then when it was given, I had my pint and I just lobbed it in the air and it smashed on the fucking ceiling, glass everywhere, beer everywhere, went all over everyone around me. And Tony just looked at me, you fucking bastard. But he didn't bar me because I was a regular. And yeah. But anyway, I'm boring you now.
No, not at all. Not at all. I like hearing stories like that because obviously I'm a local person, so I know about some of these things. And I definitely remember Tony, but I can't remember if that was the manager or not.
I fucking drink.
I must vaguely. It does ring a bell.
I'll tell you a funny story quickly. Ian Rubin, right? Good friend of mine, Liverpool fan. He's so funny. He looks like Smokey from Friday. That's what we used to call him, right? Or Chris Tucker, sorry. And once they had Spurs versus, well, I say once, but they had Spurs versus Arsenal, right? And Tony had this thing about wearing shirts because he didn't like football fans wearing their colours to these games, right? So, you know, because people would kick off and whatnot. And he had this sign outside. He goes, "No colours allowed." And Ian standing there goes, "You fucking racist!" Like winding him up though. But that's the kind of stuff we used to do back then, you know. I mean, look, it had some good times. It had some bad times, you know. And I mean, if you Google Roger Leslie, Roger was top guy. But then when you see what he did, or when you hear what he did, it had a very dark side to that place. It did, you know, but we had great times there, man. Like the stories, I could reel them off all day. It's just ridiculous because we were going there for close to a decade, man. It was mad. But anyway, carry on. Sorry, I digress.
No worries. I see we've been joined by Ola via audio version. Say hello to the people, Ola.
Yes, Stel.
Hello, mate.
What's happening, Stel, man? Jig, my brother. Boy,
well done.
Yeah, it's been a tough week, but yeah, glad to be in the chat with you guys, man. You get me? So we can bring some real perspective to this thing. Cause Stel is way too high right now, man. I need to clip some wings around here. You get me?
But that's the thing. So funny enough, that was what we were just talking about. So I mean, in the sense that I remember 3 months ago. It was heat for Stel, boy. My man came on and he was miserable. He was just like, "Oh fuck it, we'll probably get smoked by Arsenal." This, that, the other. And you know, for me, right, because I know my team, right. Anybody else, I'd have been real confident going into that game, but we have this mental block when it comes to Man United. I don't care how bad they're playing. I don't care how well we're playing. Somehow these fuckers will get some kind of dumb result, whether it's a draw, whether it's a jammy penalty, whether it's something. And I just had this, I said what I said, but I knew better. You know when you know better?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. Like we were the team on form, they were the team low in confidence, and yet we still couldn't beat them. What is wrong with us when it comes to United?
Mental fragility, mate. Mental fragility. It's been there for years.
First of all, I'm going to say something right now, yeah? Right, and that should clear a lot of this madness up. Why does everybody want to give every other team 4 years to build their shit, but they expect our Rome to be built in a day? Everybody else is giving the all the time in the world. United is what? 3 managers, 4 or 5 years deep into their renovation thing. Spurs is the same thing. Yeah? Spurs is the same thing. Liverpool, they've had like 4 years into this thing. Man City, how long has Pep been there? Right? So the people that we're competing against, they're 4 years deep into this thing. We've had Emery in here like 6 months. Even Chelsea, you could say the manager merry-go-round, it's been going on for nearly a decade. Even managers that win the league with them don't really stay or get an extension. So what I'm trying to say,
with you.
So what I'm trying to say, hold on.
Just to quickly interrupt, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. But I will say this: our team has been in quote unquote transition for the last 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, but that's under the same manager, right? That we've now known after the fact with the chief executive and the owner, right? That's not been really dealing with the club the right way, right? We're not finding out that part of the wage structure that we're suffering from, that we couldn't do signings for in January, that we were having to go around begging for loans, yeah, all right. Wenger ended up with 17 million pounds of that, right? That could have gone towards someone like Perisic, but we couldn't even put money down because we're broke in that sense. It's not we're broke, but we've spent the actual limitations that we got in the money pot that we could put on wages, and a large portion of that is gone to Wenger. A large portion of that is gone to Gazidis for the payoffs and the bonuses that he's had. So we have to look at these, that we're on a rebuilding thing. Now we're 6-8 months into it. So the Arsenal that we're seeing right now, I remember Liverpool's road to the final and United's road to the final. It went all rose petals all the way to the final for them. It went all rose petals. They had some difficulties along the way. So, and that's during their rebuilding period as well. So what I'm trying to say is we're 8 months into what we're doing. So we have to temper everything with the time period of what we're dealing with. Having said all of that, I hate United as the next man. Yeah? And that's no shade. That's no shade on you, joy. Because you know we love you. We love you as a brother. You get me?
So that's family, but I hate United.
But you get me.
My dad supports United, and I still hate them.
Exactly. So you know what I mean? Like my missus is United. My eldest son is United. My youngest boy is Arsenal. You get, so my household is a madness when it comes to match day like this. My household is madness, brethren. You get me? So the thing is this: we need the victory. But I know a draw is not going to be the end of the world. It's not going to be the end of the world. But I'll go back to what I said a few weeks ago, when me, you, and Lee, shout out Lee Gunner, been on this show, and I said to you, everybody's thinking the last 8 games is going to be the easy ride. Reigns show that ain't the case. Yeah, I actually think that Spurs game and this United game are actually going to be way more easier than these other games that we got coming up, that everybody is kind of putting down as an easy win. On paper, is an easy win. As long as we get 4 points or 6 points between United and Spurs, we can go on and just dominate these other games. No, to me, those games are harder, and I've been saying it for weeks. You know that you can attest to that. So what I'm trying to say is, with United, all right, in previous games they've got our number. They've shown they got our number. But at the same time, we rise up to the big games. That's how I say it. We rise up to the big game. We respond to these big games. So even if United is going to get something, we have to make them earn it. Especially with, I actually think this performance yesterday does not suit United. The result we had yesterday does not suit you, because they're gonna come in all cocky and all thinking, yeah, they can just walk in and get a result out of the Emirates.
I don't agree with that. I'm sorry.
Well, I know you don't, yeah, but now I'm looking at it from an Arsenal fans' perspective on how you might not be looking at it the same way I'm looking at it.
All right. Well, let's give Stel an opportunity to say how will United fans be viewing this game tomorrow? Because you were very pessimistic last time, and obviously now you guys are. I know, like, you're terrifying right now to the point where I'm like, I'm not looking forward to this game.
Lukaku's out here whipping us.
I'm not looking forward to this game at all. But so how do you feel from a United perspective? Are you confident going into the game?
Let me just take a sidestep quickly. Last time we spoke about a United Arsenal game was the FA Cup game. And I was full of confidence going into that one. And I said Arsenal were running scared. And that's because we hit a rich vein of form. The confidence was back. The players had gelled. There was a new sense of camaraderie at the club. Everyone was singing from the same song sheet. This time around, I'm not as confident as I was. And that's purely because of the fact that you cannot discount a wounded animal, which is what Arsenal are. You had a bad result midweek, a very bad performance. Defensively, you were shambolic. But if ever you need a game to kickstart your season or just to get some of that confidence back, or for the players to turn it up, that's to be against United at the weekend. I think it's the ideal game for Arsenal. The last thing you would want was like a relegation side coming to the Emirates, because they're just like 10 men behind the ball and frustrated you guys. Whereas this game is going to be open. Yeah, we will probably play a 3-4-2-1 system, much as we did the other day. But on the flip side, I think because it's one of those games where it will be open, it won't be a counter-attacking game. And I think it will suit you guys down to the ground. But going back to your original question, the irrational United fans, like your United stand viewers and all these mongoloids that go on Twitter and think that United are going to win the Champions League because we scraped past the Jordan 45, not the Jordan 23 Paris Saint-Germain side. You got to ignore these people because the Gideometer has gone up here. For me, I'm not like this pessimistic person and skeptical about everything. I'm a realist, and going into this game, yeah, we've got injuries. We've got some players coming back. I know Martial might be back, but he's not going to be match fit. Herrera and Matic may be back. They're not going to be match fit. Bailly, you know how I feel about him. I think he's thick as pig shit and he's a liability, but I know you guys rate him. I don't know why you can have him. So it doesn't fill me with much confidence knowing that he's going to be back.
Trust me, it's better than Mustafi. I tell you that now. That's another show.
I think that my pubic hairs are better than Mustafi, but but
I don't want to be thinking about that now. Still,
yeah, well, sorry, mate. I just plant the seeds. You just let them grow. But no, I'm confident, but I'm not as confident as the FA Cup game because of the fact that you guys have got a point to prove. I know Torreira is going to be out. Guendouzi is running on empty at the moment, and I think you're running him down to the ground. But Denis Suarez hasn't really stepped up to the plate, and it might be the game that he turns up. You just don't know. Mkhitaryan's got a point to prove. Aubameyang definitely does have a point to prove. Lacazette is going to be back in the team, so we can't discredit Arsenal. We can't go in there thinking, oh, it's going to be easy because we've only had one defeat in like 18 games. It will be asinine to do so, and it will be very, very disrespectful to Arsenal to think that we're going to walk all over you. It's not going to be easy. I am confident again, but I'm not like super confident like I was in the cup game.
Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, looking ahead towards Sunday. Ola, Stel made the point. Yesterday's performance was an absolute fucking disgrace.
Yeah.
I actually don't know what your thoughts were about yesterday's game. I went looking at your Twitter. What did you actually think about the game?
Bro, I saw your video, man, and I was in pain for you, man.
I was pissed. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I saw your video, man. God damn. Yesterday was one of those games where we just didn't turn up. we had chances. It's not like we didn't create chances. The chances were there. There was a few chances here and there. You know what I mean? Um, we just didn't show up. We didn't have our shooting boots on. Aubameyang didn't really turn up. It was just one of those days where you just think, why did we might as well just forfeited the whole 3 points and wait for them to come down to the Emirates, because we didn't. The only saving grace was the away goal. That's the only saving grace in that game. That's the only positives you could really take out of it. But having said all of that, I still think we're a superior side. I still think we did enough to get a very, very good result from that game yesterday, but we didn't take the chances that were created. I watched the game again tonight, and I thought to myself, there was still plenty in that game to get a result out of it, but we just didn't take the chances. So, coming back to the Emirates, we made it a bit tougher. We could have left there with 2-1. We didn't. We stupidly gave away the third goal. I mean, what Monreal was doing that far up so late in the game is beyond me. But that's
someone who is normally a sensible defender as well. I don't know what happened.
It's something that we struggled with over the years, and that's just game management. It's just simple game management, and I'm not gonna lie. Over the last few weeks, Solskjaer's exhibited that in a fantastic way, and I don't like to. I was saying this yesterday to Mrs. here that this is the thing with Solskjaer. You can't even dislike the guy if you want to.
He's likable.
You know what I mean? I want to hate on this guy so
I hated
bad,
him.
But
I hated him.
You can't
I hated him as a super sub.
You can't even fucking dislike this guy as a fucking manager.
As a player, I hated him.
As a player, yeah, you know what I mean? But like what he's doing right now, the way he's handling himself, the way he's presenting himself, you know what I mean? You can't dislike him. And he's got a very, very likable thing about him. But the magic thing, what he's doing, because this guy's got a magic sauce and nobody's really, really looking at it. I'm hearing, I heard it on TalkSport while I was at work today. This guy's got Fergie in the dressing room at half time. This was Phil Neville saying this on TalkSport. This guy's got Ferguson. Fergie, I thought, was a thing of the past in the museum, and people can only go to the fucking museum to see this guy. This guy is not showing up in the flesh in the dressing room. And you thinking, Jesus Christ, if that's not enough to motivate these players to go out and do what they're doing, it now shows it brings a different perspective to how they're really performing out there. And I'm thinking to myself, that's the difference. Who would want Wenger in our dressing room at half time right now?
Well, I mean, I think that's an excellent point that you make. I mean, I was going to talk about the Oli effect a bit later in the show, but
not really an Oli effect. It's a Fergie effect.
I think. Well, you say that.
I'm not taking no credit away from
the manager has to be willing first.
Please, I'm not taking no credit away from Oli, but when you got Phelan and you got someone like Fergie influence, and he's not made any secret of it, of how he's been involving Fergie.
I agree, but the manager,
what he's been doing.
The manager has to be willing first, and I think the one thing that I would say about this United manager compared to, say, a Jose or even what the heck is that guy's name? Van Gaal.
Yeah,
is that I think you have someone who clearly embraces the Man United culture.
The culture, yeah.
The ethics. The one thing that I will say, and my friend Kenzo will be watching this, shout out to him. He is a big proponent of the idea of the right legend leading this club, because he says that the problem that you get is you get these people who come into United jobs and then they think, oh, well, Man United are the biggest club in the world and I must be a big manager, so I'm going to mold them in my way. And Man United is not the type of club that you mold. Man United is the type of club that you become a part of. And obviously, if you're a legend already, you are already a big part of that. And I'm just curious, you know, Stel, what is your take? What is your kind of, what do you think of the Ollie effect?
I'm surprised with the way it's gone, to be fair. And that's not a knock on Solskjaer. I just thought, I've said it time and time again, our squad isn't as great as people make it out to be. Yeah, we've got good players going forward, but this kind of reminds me of Greece in Euro 2004, whereby there was a few stand-up players like Gatsouranis and Yanagopoulos and all these other players, but they were big names, but in Greece, obviously. But the camaraderie and the cohesion was there. And Hagel did a fantastic job gelling them, and they had that stability defensively. They were hitting teams on the counter attack. And Solskjaer's come in, and the way I see it was a very intelligent move to bring him in because as you said, he's embedded in the United DNA. He knows all about the club. He's been there, he's done it. He's worn the T-shirt, scored the last-minute goals, whatever. But because he's a legend, the players had got no option but to play for him. Because under Jose, he was saying a lot of things which riled a lot of fans, and a lot of it was true, to be fair. But at the same time, he wasn't doing things the way that the players wanted. Whereas now, we've brought in this guy that the fans adore. No United fan has a bad word to say against Solskjaer, unlike some other legends. But you know, the players had no option but to play for him. But at the same time, he coached the likes of Lingard when he was a reserve team manager. I remember we played Norwich in a friendly and I went to Carrow Road and we had the likes of Richie Delat and all these other youngsters and Lingard was there and all these other players. So he knows a lot of the youngsters and he knows how to coach youngsters, which is why we've seen McTominay do well since he's come in. I mean, McTominay months ago when he was playing at central defence against West Ham, he was lost. But he had the game of his life against Paris Saint-Germain. Fred, who was in the wilderness, he come in and he's done a job. Pereira, I don't know where this new lease of life has come from. He's turning into the player that a lot of people expected him to become. But again, it's back to what Ola said in terms of the backroom staff. Mike Phelan's been fantastic. Michael Carrick's been brilliant. McKenna's been phenomenal. His tactically he's fantastic, but no one really talks about him too much. And yeah, the Fergie effect is there, and what Solskjaer is doing, he's bringing Ferguson into the mold and saying, right, you know, he's introducing him to the players because Fergie obviously isn't around the club as much as he used to be when he was in charge, obviously. But to have these youngsters see Alex Ferguson there and say, wow, like he's given us words of encouragement is obviously going to help. And Solskjaer's going to get the job full time. We know it's a no-brainer, and it would be the smartest thing to do. So yeah, while I'm surprised how well we're doing, at the same time, it's like, well, we're good enough to be doing this well, despite the deficiencies we have in the squad. So
100%.
Yeah, let's see.
Would you be happy if he gets the job?
Cheek, do you know what the way it is at the moment? I said it when we beat in fact when we beat you guys in the cup. A lot of people are like, "Oh, give it to him, give it to him." Like, look, just wait till the end of the season before you decide to give anything to him, because you don't know, it could all go tits up. You know, we might get knocked out by Wolves. I mean, the funny thing is, if us and City win our remaining games, say till the time we face each other in the league, we could effectively possibly play them in the Champions League and the FA Cup. So it could be 5 games against City in the space of 2 months.
Yeah.
You know, so it could go tits up. You just
I'd very much love that. I'm praying for that.
You would, but you know, but let's say, look, put it this way. I think the first port of call was for him to stabilize the club, which is what Van Gaal effectively came in for, to stabilize the club, and he did well to bring in a lot of youngsters, and he made a lot of fuck ups. But no, it's loopy Louie. What do you expect? Solskjaer's come in, he's got that stability there. The players are working together as a unit. They're enjoying themselves. The confidence is there. And I think the next port of call was to get top 4. If we get top 4, I can't see why he's not going to get. In fact, to be honest, I can't see why he's not going to get the job full time. Now, if you want to talk about other potential managers, the only realistic one that a lot of people are talking about is Pochettino. But if we do bring in Pochettino, first of all, we're going to have to fork out 40 to 50 million quid to get him out of his contract because Daniel Levy plays hardball. And secondly, if he does come in, he's going to bring in his own guys. And it's going to be just like Moyes, you know, bringing in the unknowns like your Steve Rounds and all these other guys. And are they going to work well with the players? We don't know. And the third thing, which is what I've said time and time again, who is Pochettino? No disrespect, but he hasn't won anything. And I know people are going to say, well, Solskjaer hasn't done well. He's won the Norwegian.
I'll answer that question for you. Is Manager of the Year by Willow
what
Foundation.
the London Awards? Give me a break when they're employing former page 3 model to do the hosting. Fuck off, man. Come on, you know. So it's just like he's won nothing, right? So it's back to the David Moyes thing, where the players like your Pogba's are saying, "I've won World Cups. What have you won? Premier League Manager of the Month." And this is what we'll be going kind of sideways with Pochettino, as good as he is, and it's not fair for me to judge him on what he's done at Spurs, because let's be honest, Spurs haven't won anything since 2008, and even before that was a 91 FA Cup final, which I remember like it was yesterday. So I don't know. I think the best thing to do, wait till the end of the season. I think Solskjaer's going to get the job and then take it from there. But as I said, this is a big summer for us, because if the Saudis come in, which is what I fully expect to happen, we'll have new owners. I know, we've been negotiating with Jadon Sancho's agent for the past 3 weeks, so he's a possible. The fact that he's got 1 million Instagram followers tells me that he's high on United's radar, and with Sanchez going to be out of the door in the summer. I don't know. I'm not Nostradamus, and I'm not going to foresee the future, but which is why I'm taking each game as it comes. But if we continue this vein of form, top 4 is now out of the question. If we win the FA Cup, great. I can't see us winning the Champions League, but stranger things have happened. So yeah, I'm just enjoying the ride for the moment, mate. I mean, it's been a dreary 4 or 5 years. Even though we won a few trophies, it hasn't been the United, but we knew this was going to happen when Ferguson retired. So yeah, just enjoy the ride. I've got my seatbelt clipped in.
Yeah, tell me about it.
The long answer to a short question.
If there's anyone that knows about roller coaster rides, it's an Arsenal fan. Trust me on that one. All right, we're gonna do this because I know the last time we had Stel on, we talked about a combined 11, but what we didn't do is do all-time 11s. So it's Arsenal versus United. It's a big game. It feels like a big game. It feels like there's at least some stakes. And that's all I want from a United-Arsenal game. So I think it's time to discuss, first of all, our separate all-time 11, and then our combined all-time 11. So this should be fun. Let's go with you first. I said me and Ola might argue over ours. So what would you say the United all-time 11 is? Right. I'm curious if we argue with you about this.
No, see, this question is a bit of a grey area for me, because is it based on players that I've seen or players that throughout the whole history? Because I didn't see Best, Law and Charlton. I didn't watch them play.
I think that's a reasonable question, because I think people are going to start expecting me to put like Liam Brady and people like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to do that. It's people I've seen. So I say people you've seen.
Okay, right. Schmeichel in goal. There's no two ways about it. Van der Sar a second, but definitely Schmeichel in goal.
100%.
For me, he's the best ever. But
unfortunately, I agree.
Thank you very much.
I hated Schmeichel back in I hated him that much.
Yeah, there you go. Back 4, it's a tough one, because I want to say Paul Parker, because he's a good friend of mine. But he wasn't at United long enough to say that he was like a mainstay. So I have to go with Gary Neville at right back. My left back would be Dennis Irwin, hands down. For anyone that knows Dennis Irwin, he was an 8 out of 10 performer week in, week out.
Two-footed, the best penalty in the league.
A free kick. He saved us a lot with free kicks as well, to be honest. I remember against Crystal Palace in the FA Cup.
Yeah, he had a mean for him.
So he was fantastic. And you know what? He was a team player. He got down, head down, kind of like Ray Parlour, unsung hero, but did what he had to do. Central defenders, this for me has always been a difficult one, because Jaap Stam, even though he was only at United for a few seasons, man, the guy was a Goliath. Like, I think the only player that put him on his ass was Anelka and Ronaldo. And, that just says it all, really. But yeah, Jaap Stam will be my central defender. I'm torn between 2 players. I'm torn between Steve Bruce and Nemanja Vidic. And I know people are going to say, what about Rio? But, Rio Ferdinand was banned for 8 months for doing coke. allegedly.
He was also, you put that word back earlier on, eh?
and he also met and during that 8 months ban, he met up with Peter Kenyon to try and move to Chelsea, which no one really talks about. But anyway, and the whole "do you know who I am" kind of bollocks thing does my head in, you know. So I'm not going to put him there. So it's either Steve Bruce or Nemanja Vidic. Both of them warriors, man. But if I have to go with
it, surely.
I'll what. Again, I'm old school. You know, Steve Bruce scored penalties, man. I remember one season Steve Bruce got like 18 goals for us. You know?
He had a mean shot on him. I'll give him that. He had a mean shot on him.
He was all right. But yeah, and Vidic was a monster. So I'm gonna go Vidic. Although Torres, but you see, can you imagine Vidic and Vidic and Stam in the central defence?
Yeah, that would be a hell of a fucking. Oh wow,
that'd be a mad thing. Still,
yeah, it would be. I ain't gonna lie.
My two, I'll go 4-4-2. My two central midfielders, Scholes and Keane. That's a no-brainer for me. I think I can guess your
midfield anyway, but go on.
Well, see, this is the thing. Like for me,
you can't leave them two out. Them two are like the pinnacle of United's fucking.
There you go.
One of the best years.
There you go. I mean, look, for me, you're gonna laugh.
My generation, anyway, from what I see.
Well, there you go.
Them two are like the pinnacle.
Ridiculous footballers, but I mean, my favorite ever player is Veron. I love him to bits, and when he joined United, I was just like creaming everywhere, man, honestly. And he was unlucky with injuries. To be fair, he had a good first season for us, but he was unlucky.
Bro, you ain't never had no luck with South Americans, man.
No,
really?
Veron, Tevez.
But Tevez did well. Tevez did well, to be fair, but he fell out with the manager over whatever. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. Oh God, it's what, it pains me. It pains me to say this, but number 11, I'm going to put him on left wing.
I know you want to say his name, but I can understand you can't leave him out.
I can't leave him out. I can't leave him out.
Because is your brethren in it? Go on.
Well, see, look, the thing is, right, I'm going by what's happening on the pitch.
Yes.
And I know people are going to talk to me and say, "What about Rio Ferdinand?" Because you mentioned him, but you know what he did. And look, Rodri would say that, right? His brother would be, probably
Hairy chest monster.
You know,
drop his name.
Yeah. So yeah,
feel no way.
Number 11. I'm going to say number 11, left wing, right wing. Now, I know people are going to disagree with me on this, but again, I'm going back based on what I've seen. Now, David Beckham would always be a shoo-in for a lot of people. You know, that 99 season, was it 20 assists? That season was ridiculous. You know, one of the best right foots I've seen. You know, I remember when him and Veron were at the club and warming up before games, I'd be sitting in the Stretford and Beckham would be on one side of the flank and Veron would be in the other, and they'd be pinging balls to each other, and they'd be perfect. Inch perfect.
I must admit, he's not in my United all-time 11 for you guys.
Yeah, well, my choice for right winger, I'm gonna go Andrei Kanchelskis.
Wow. Okay, but I liked Kanchelskis, so I can understand that one.
I'm gonna go with Kanchelskis because
not Ronaldo though.
What? I'm getting to that. He's
gonna put him up top, isn't he?
I'm putting him up top. So I'm gonna put Andre wide right, because for me, when I was growing up at United as a United fan, I was used to seeing like your Jesper Olsens and your Gordon Strackens and all that kind of stuff. So it shows my age. But Andrei Kanchelskis was the first United winger that really got me on the edge of my seat. I remember when Sol Campbell was at Spurs and he played left back, because he started as a striker at Spurs. And he played left back. And it was, in fact, Jurgen Klinsmann's first season at Spurs. And we beat him 1-0. Steve Bruce scored their header with a winner. And Andrei Kanchelskis put him on his ass about 4 times in the opening 20 minutes. And I knew about Kanchelskis anyway, because he'd been with us for like 2-3 seasons prior to that. So we knew what it was about. But he was rapid. And that hat-trick against Man City, man, that for me is enough. You know, he was wicked. I mean, I know he left the club on bad terms and whatever reason, but he loves the club still, and I know his son's an Everton fan. But yeah, for me, it'll be Kanchelskis. And up top, Ronaldo and Cantona. That's it. Cantona was just He was a god for us. He was an absolute god. And what he did, he left a legacy, kind of like with Dennis Bergkamp with Arsenal. He left a legacy. He came in, he had a fallout with Wilkinson at Leeds. Ferguson, in fact, it was just by chance that we signed him, right? Because Leeds wanted to sign Dennis Irwin, and they called up Martin Edwards, and Ferguson was with him at the time. And when they were talking, Ferguson wrote Cantona ? On a bit of paper. And Wilkinson was like, yeah, I don't want him. £1.2 million. And ironically, we signed him 2 days before we played Arsenal. And we beat Arsenal 1-0. Mark Hughes scored the winner in November. So, yeah, this shows my age.
Here I am thinking Bebe was going to make your team.
No. He would have made the homeless team.
So all the strikers you're leaving out here. So no York, no Cole.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
It's difficult because York and Cole.
No Rooney, who's your leading all-time scorer, isn't he?
I'm surprised with Rooney.
It's difficult.
I'm surprised. Rooney scored in literally every game against us.
But like, you're discounting Mark Hughes. You're discounting Van Nistelrooy. You're discounting.
You've had some great players still.
Wow.
Teddy Sheringham. We've been blessed. And see, this is the thing, and I'm going to digress a little bit.
Spoiled, ain't you? You've been spoiled.
Exactly. You've taken the words right out of my mouth. A lot of United fans are spoiled, which is why when you see them piping up on Twitter, I'm like, you don't need to calm down because you need to realize that before Ferguson, in fact, even when Ferguson came, we were shit. Ferguson was one game away from losing his job. I remember it was Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup. We beat them 1-0 thanks to Mark Robbins. And he kept his job, and then we went on to win the FA Cup. We won the Cup Winners' Cup the following season, the League Cup, and then it progressed from there. So, you can't take these things for granted. And I will say this to Arsenal fans: you lot have had some fantastic years. The late '90s, the early 2000s, you've been fantastic. But you can't sit there and think that your team is got the divine right to be up there because of your history. Liverpool fans have been doing that for years, and they've had that Champions League in 2005 to keep them there on that plastic treble under Houllier. But you can't rest on your laurels, and you can't say that because you're that name that you deserve to be up there. Look at Milan. Milan are one of the greatest teams historically, and they're struggling. 5 European Cups, players like Van Basten, Gullit, Rijkaard, Baresi, Maldini. Jesus Christ, these names.
The list goes on.
I'm getting a boner. You can't see it, but I'm getting a boner. But you don't want to see it. It's not pretty. But this is what I'm saying. You can't think about the past and say, right, we deserve to be up there because of the past. No, it's the here and now, and it's what your team are doing. But anyway, going back to my all-time 11, I'm going for Cantona because of the legacy that he left. A lot of the youngsters came through. I remember the "You'll win now" with kids comment from Hansen, and it was Cantona that was the captain. He was the one that was pulling the strings. Your Beckhams came through, your Nevilles, your Scholes. All of these are when Cantona was there. And Ronaldo, I can't say anything bad about the guy. I was there on his debut against Bolton. He came on left wing, he skinned the right back and got it. He went on the right wing, he skinned the full back. I can't remember his name. Was it Whitlow or whoever it was? He battered them, and then I saw him grow as a player and as a man. I remember when he fell out with Van Nistelrooy, and it was over Carlos Queiroz. I don't know if you know this story, but Van Nistelrooy was getting really fed up with Ronaldo, with his step overs, not delivering the ball quick enough, and they had a massive row in training. And Carlos Queiroz was refereeing the game at the time. And Van Nistelrooy was like, "Oh, go cry to your dad." And Ronaldo had just lost his dad. His dad died when Ronaldo was like 18, which is why he respects Ferguson so much, because Ferguson helped him grow, and as did Queiroz. And he said, "Well, my dad's dead. What's your fucking problem?" And he was like, "No, he's your dad," pointing to Queiroz. And that was the nail in the coffin for Van Nistelrooy, because Ferguson was like, "I don't want to play like this." That's got that kind of mentality. 2 days later, we played Charlton Athletic in the last game of the season. He played Giuseppe Rossi, and Van Nistelrooy went home in the cab. We're never to be seen again. So, Ronaldo, I saw him grow. He won World Player of the Year, the first United player to do so. We won the Champions League. I was in Moscow to see him miss that penalty, and he had that outstanding season where he scored 42 goals. I mean, I'm just reminiscing here now, and I'm sure you guys will do the same with the Arsenal players. So, yeah, I can't pick anyone else but those two, even though it's very difficult. So yeah, that's my 1 to 11 in a very long period of time.
I forgot what your 1 to 11 is now after you told that story.
and very quickly, who's your captain of that side?
Roy Keane.
Roy Keane.
Okay.
Yeah, has to be.
All right. Stel.
I missed that Brian Robson as well. I missed that Brian Robson. And this is the thing, it hurts me because I love Robbo. I absolutely love him, but I've got to decide, yeah. So I'm sure you're going to leave out players that you don't want. I'm sure you're going to be gutted leaving out Stepanovs and Luzhny. So
of course, man, the legend that is Stepanov,
Rami Shaban, Kabadiawara, yeah, the list goes on.
Okay, Ola, we've got to go 4-4-2. Yeah, no bullshit.
Yeah.
All right. So in goal, David Seaman.
I was thinking Lehman, but I'll go with Seaman. I'll let you
know. I ain't gonna lie.
Seaman. Yeah, we'll go Seaman.
Even though Seaman deserves to be.
We'll go with. Look, nobody really wants to forgive Lehman for that Champions League final. I get it. I get it.
Even though David Seaman deserves to be stripped of his legend status for this week, coming out saying that he will support Tottenham in the Champions League. What kind of nonsense?
This is what I try to say. You won't hear that type of thing from Lehman. You get me? But obviously, he's fulfilling his punditry. Look, these fuckers have to say certain things.
Say what they need
that's
to
not going to be pop. Exactly, that's not going to be popular. So
I think just part of their job. The league titles he's won, and yeah. So David Seaman in goal, right back, skirt between Lauren and Dixon.
I'm going with Dixon, mate. I'm going with Dixon.
Me too.
Dixon is a genius, man. He's a genius. The way he looks at the game.
I love Lauren. The way he reads the game so well as someone who was a right winger initially, and he was put as a right back by the previous.
Malaga, Mallorca.
Yeah, and when he was put as right back, we were like, "Damn, Venner, you sure?"
Bro, there's a story about Dixon on when George Graham signed him from Stoke City. He actually wanted more money, and George Graham told him to fuck off. You ain't getting that type of money. This is the amount of wages. I think it was about £700 or something like that at the time. And he said to him, "This is your wages. We're not using no agent. We're not using nothing. This is what we're offering you. If you don't want it, you can stay at Stoke." And Lee Dixon ended up saying, "You know what, Bonstoke, Arsenal's a big club." He asked the permission of the manager at the time. I can't remember who the manager was at the time. Asked the permission to go and sign for Arsenal, and that was the story. So he didn't care about wages much so as some of the other players that we're gonna get onto later. About when it came to wages, they didn't really give a fuck. They just wanted to play for the club, and that's when footballers was really, in my eyes, was really like respected. I'm like 40 years old, so I've been watching these guys like fucking from day dot, and it's amazing what he came on from Stoke, and at that time we only just signed Steve Bold at the same time from the same club, from Stoke City as well. So it was just one of those that you look back from what they came over to achieve from a club like Stoke City to Arsenal, winning cups, winning leagues, and Cup Winners' Cup at the time. It's just amazing stuff. But yeah, we'll go with Dixon. I'm with Dixon on that one.
In defense, are we going? I'm going Adams and Sol.
Okay, I wouldn't argue with that. I got that down as well. Adams and Sol.
And I love Keown. I loved his fuckery. For me, forget everything else.
There's two particular reasons we can't leave those two out.
Forget everything else. That Old Trafford thing alone, bitch slapping Van Nistelrooy, loved him for that shit. Don't care. I don't care. And Steve Bold as a player, I love Steve Bold. But to me, I think our two best defenders of recent times is Adams and Sol. Are we happy with that?
Taking Sol from Spurs for Foucault after he tricked them, leading them on to all the way to the end of the season, making them think it was going to. Basically, he did what Van Persie did to us on them, except it didn't go across the road. You know what I mean? So, so till today, obviously, always identify with us rather than Spurs, and we always do. So yeah, we'll go with Sol Campbell.
as much as I hate him, Cashley Cole, left back.
Look, it was a fantastic footballer, and we made him, regardless of what anyone wants to say. We made that geezer. We made it. We put him on the map. Yeah, obviously, he went on to do bigger things, and when I say bigger things, I mean with Champions League and that. But look, he's a fantastic player, and he's probably, in my eyes, one of England's fucking best ever left back. I don't see who else is going to take that spot as far as England players go. So, you know, for me, Ashley Cole, phenomenal left back, did this thing.
Okay, so this is where I think 3 of these midfielders will be quite easy.
3 or 4. We're going 4-4-2, isn't it?
We're going 4-4-2.
Yeah.
So let's start with the left-hand side. So obviously,
Pires.
I love Mark Overmars, but it has to be Pires. It has to be
Pires. Not even.
He was a genius.
That's not even
someone who. And when people talk about Mesut Ozil's genius, for me, I think this is why it's difficult for people like Lee to look at Ozil and think, yeah, he's a good player, because he remembers people like when we had Robert Pires, who week in, week out would do something on that ball.
The stuff it does. There were impossible. Some of the impossible goals that I've seen these guys score. I mean, yeah, we were truly blessed with a player like
you had this Swedish player called Anders Limpar, my friend, who was phenomenal.
Oh yes, I love Limpar.
You'd see my video, yeah?
I love Limpar too, bro. Don't try. I love Limpar too, but like you say, you got to make a decision, man. And Bobby,
you
left out some fantastic players as well. You know what I mean?
No, of course, but that's a difficulty. But I mean, you're talking about Robert Pires, and Pires was a fantastic footballer. I mean,
for me, he was the superstar before the superstar became the superstar. You know, because Robert Pires weren't a track backer. He weren't. He was a luxury player. But here's the thing about Robert Pires. People accepted that because what he gave you up front was consistency. He was always consistent. And to be honest, if Robert Pires didn't play properly, maybe Henry wouldn't play properly either. Henry would generally have a quiet game until he tries to produce something out of nothing. And for me, I think Robert Pires, honestly, in a lot of ways, doesn't get enough credit for how good he was.
I think technically he was your best player. Technically,
he was so good.
I think he was so underrated by a lot of football fans across the board, because obviously we get to see him week in, week out, and people labeled him as this diver, but there was so much more to his game than just diving. Obviously, that was part of the dark art that you needed, especially in that period of football, because football is moved on a lot from the period that these guys were playing football. You know, it was so physical, and to have the technical ability that he possessed at the time was just fantastic. I mean, some of the goals that he chipped in was phenomenal, and yeah, you know, it was a joy to watch, and he's one of the best players that I've seen with playing live. He's one of the best.
In the middle, Patrick Vieira, and this is where I'm going to get controversial. I'm going to put Cesc in. I'm going to put Cesc in. I don't think T, as good as he was with Vieira, I don't think he was there long enough for me to be like, yeah, he's in our all-time 11. I just don't. You're going to struggle to convince me with this one.
I want Petr in there, man. Like this.
What do the chat room think? Chat room, you decide.
It was the truth. Gilberto is a great shout, but I mean, Petr was the truth, and it's hard to argue against Cesc, because if you want to look at what Cesc really did from the age he done it, he was the youngest fucking player to score in Europe. Some of the stuff he was doing was just ridiculous. And when Vieira left, he made the way he played football. He made us not even feel like we've missed Patrick Vieira at the time. And
we definitely got some trolls in on Friday night.
I can see why but for me, I'm moving towards someone like Petit or Parlour, man. But I've got Parlour somewhere else. But then, Jesus,
I'd be more convinced with Parlour.
Yeah. I'm leaning towards Parlour, man.
I was very frustrated
because
as a kid.
Parlour is just one of, because when you have a team like that, you still need that unsung hero that goes all out action, and he just does it for you. And to me, Parlour is just, there's nothing pretty about that guy. He just gets the fucking job done.
I must admit, for me, I go with Cesc.
I go with Parlour, man. I'm with Parlour on this one.
I see people in the chat room talking about Xhaka and Gilles Grimandi. You clearly don't remember Gilles Grimandi as a player, Cash. No.
Yeah, man. I'll roll with Parlour on this one. We can agree to disagree. If you want to go with Cesc, I'm with Parlour.
When Cesc came up, I kind of won that debate. I just want to put that out there. People were backing that Cesc movement.
Yeah, they come back it. You know what I mean? But yeah, you can have that one. Yeah, on the right.
On the right-hand side. So obviously, we've mentioned one of those candidates. That's Ray Parlour. Often used to play on that right-hand side. You also have an opportunity.
I'm going with Dennis on that side, man.
Hey, no,
bro. I have to put Dennis there.
Dennis on the right.
There's a reason. There's a method.
No, I know your reason, but I'm not accommodating him not on a 4-4-2, bruv.
Bro, there's a method to this madness, man.
All right, that's honest too. For me, I'm putting Freddie out there. Freddie, and the way he used to get them goals, particularly in the late 90s, I think was often crucial to winning games. He used to be one of them players that used to turn around and think, how the hell do you score the goals that you score? And all it was is his off-the-ball movement was unrivaled, because he wasn't amazingly fast. I didn't think he had this amazing shot on him, but what he was a very intelligent player and knew when to run off the ball, when to create space, how to create space. And he wasn't necessarily someone that's going to whip in balls, but he's going to be one of them guys that if you need that third man to go again and get that goal or support that striker, it was Freddie. Freddie had an engine on him as well. So for me, I put Freddie on that right-hand side.
You could never stop those diagonal runs of his. You could never stop them.
Exactly. He was hard to pick up. I loved Freddie for that. Okay.
I think Dennis was hard to pick up anywhere across the middle there, man. That guy, it was just magic.
Right. I would have put him right. You would have put Righty and Henry up.
That's why I'm good.
I already know.
Bro, that's my method. I already put it in my front two is Righty and fucking Henry, man. And I have to accommodate Dennis in the team. I have to put Dennis in the team, man. I'm not leaving Righty out of the team. Forget what he does today. This guy was a baller.
Keep interrupting. Ian Wright is my second favorite Arsenal player of all time.
So why is he not in your front two?
But he doesn't get in my team because I think Dennis is the best player that Arsenal have ever had, and I ain't sticking him on the right hand side.
Oh, you're going for balance. You're going for a balanced lineup.
We're choosing an all-time team, innit?
No, brother, we're taking a team, an all-time team in their positions. Otherwise, I'd be sticking people left, right, and center. Listen, Kanu is my favorite player of all time. You don't get in my team. Listen,
those are good benches, man. Those are good benches.
That's what I'm saying. This is what the bench is for. So no, For me, I love Brighty.
People are begging for a Woody in the team.
Forgive me. Brighty doesn't even put himself in the team. Brighty doesn't even put himself for me, I put Dennis up top, just behind King Henry. I want to hear no arguments. I want to hear no arguments, brother. So yeah, that's me. That was painful. And if we thought that was painful, what is a combined all 11 gonna look like?
Jesus Christ!
this could go on all day, man. Honestly.
Go on. Let's bang this out quickly. I'm gonna put it out there. Schmeichel. I don't want to hear no shit. I love David, but let's be fucking real.
Yeah, Schmeichel and goal, man. Can't argue with that.
Real. Right back. See, for me, let me make a pitch. Because I'm gonna put Cashley on the left-hand side, I put Dennis Irwin, who could play that position, on the right-hand side.
Oh, you're going for the diplomatic response, aren't you?
Yeah.
I'd be more inclined to put Gary Neville there, to be honest.
Okay.
You know, for right back. I mean, I love Dennis, but for right back slot, I'll probably just give it Gary. Give it Gary.
What do you think, Ola? You're the deciding vote.
Yeah, I'll go with Gary Neville.
Gary Neville.
Yeah, I'll go with Gary Neville. I think he deserves a spot in that team for the things he did, not just for United but for the Premier League as well. Phenomenal. So yeah, I'll go with Gary.
All right, and central defenders. Should we go Stam and Adams?
Ooh.
Adams has got to be in there. I don't know who Stel's going for.
I didn't play Sol Campbell.
You played Sol Campbell?
Yeah, man. Do you know what? Adams was fantastic. Don't get me wrong.
Adams has got to be in there, man. So if you want to choose Sol Campbell, we'll go with Adams and Sol Campbell.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of feel the same way about. I kind of agree with Ola. I ain't gonna lie, I can't not have Adams in this team somewhere, bro.
There's no way Adams is missing out on this. So if you
want to Stam ain't gonna miss out. Stam is not gonna miss out. I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought you was going with Stam. I was gonna oblige.
To be honest, I'd back for Stam as well. To be fair, so yeah, I think Sam and Adams would be a formidable partnership. Yeah. Who's fucking with that? And then as the left back, so we really got a debate here.
I think Ashley Coleman.
Like I said, Ashley Cole. Yeah,
there's no debate. There's no debate in that really. He was the best of that generation there, and still till today, I still haven't seen a better England right back.
Yes. He's a left back.
I mean left back. Sorry, Gary Neville. I meant left back, but yeah, I still haven't seen a better England left back since he's gone. Since he's been and gone.
He's better than Leighton Baines.
Yeah.
Stephen Warnock.
Just for my 2 cents, I still would have put Dennis Irwin on that right hand side and Cashley left, but that's just me.
Just put Dennis Irwin there. It doesn't matter.
I rated Irwin so highly as a kid, so highly. But that's just me. Okay, central midfielders.
Keane Vieira. That's it.
Has to be kind of,
no one's getting past them.
I love Skull, but it has to be.
You don't need anyone else. Like you put them two in the middle of the park. It's Fort Knox. You ain't getting past them.
Yeah, those you can't do it without those two.
Yeah,
I mean, as far as the Premier League era is concerned, man, them two were the linchpins. Like, fuck what everybody else was doing.
They're talking about Slippy G as one of the best central midfielders.
You know I mean? Those two paved the way for whatever the fuck that anybody else is talking about right now, man. As far as Premier League era is concerned, man, those two, they were the definitions of what a captain is supposed to be, what rivalry is supposed to be.
To the point where they've been trying to recreate those two players ever since.
And people don't realise that they weren't just defensively sound. Vieira could bomb forward. Like Keane got quite a few goals before he got those injuries. Before he got that injury at Leeds, he was getting goals. So
those two were fearless bastards as well. I mean, when it comes to like sending shivers down the spine of your opponents, and that's That's not even talking about Arsenal v United games. I mean, like when they were with other opponents, they just stood there and they already won the game. These were captains that won the game in the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Before they came out of the fucking onto the pitch, these guys won the game in the tunnel, man. You know what I mean? Just the sheer size the sheer fucking presence of them.
And then dislike, at least when they were playing, was real. It was just real competitive dislike bullshit. And that was when the players actually gave a damn about the club. So yeah, for me, these two, absolutely. I'll tell you what, the debate about captain in this team is going to be real. I'll tell you about that. On the right-hand side?
Ronaldo. Put Ronaldo on the right, and then it frees you up with a man up top.
100%. Yeah, I agree with that.
Or put him on the left or whatever. But he plays on the left, he plays on the right. It doesn't matter.
Ola, you happy with that? Ronaldo on the right?
Yeah, Ronaldo. Yeah. I'm happy with Ronaldo on the right. Like you said, they could play on the left as well, but I'm happy with him on the right. Where do you want to go on the left?
Go with Pires. I don't like Giggs, so just go with Pires. I'll put him in my team in the interest of fairness, but now I don't give a shit. Fucking put Pires in. I'm not even going to argue.
Bobby.
I'm not even going to argue with it. I just don't like the cunt. So
Robert Pires it is.
I hated Giggs as a player.
I loved him as a player, but
he was so good as a player. That was the reason.
Yeah.
But yeah,
phenomenal player. But yeah.
Up top,
Henry's got to go up top, and we have to give. Who's Stel choosing for United?
I'd put Eric.
So Henry and Cantona.
Well, I'd put Eric in behind Henry. So you got 4-4-1-1. So you got Eric with like a free roll like he did with us. Can you imagine Cantona in front of Vieira and Keane? Like
Jesus.
Ridiculous.
That's a nightmare, man.
I mean, you're not beating that team.
Too, I ain't gonna lie. I'm trying to resist the urge of bringing up Dennis's name, but I'd be all right.
But the thing is, if they were to play in a European competition, Bergkamp couldn't go, could he?
That's the thing. So that's what I'm trying to. That's what I'm trying to console myself with. That he's on the. Eric. We'll go with Eric because I rated him a lot as a player as well. I did.
Yeah, you can't leave Henry out of the top two, man. Out of the two up top, Henry's got to be there, and Cantona.
Can I just interrupt 2 seconds? You got someone in the chat room, a Chelsea fan, Rob Huddleston. I don't know. I'm sure Rob is a very nice guy, and he's saying United and Arsenal fans are living in the past. We have history. This is why it takes so long to talk about these things.
That's something they ain't got.
Your main worry is whether you're going to play Robert Fleck or Gordon Jury up front 20 years ago. John Bumstead, you name players. Kerry Dixon, Jason Cundy, Frank Sinclair.
Their history started when Abramovich came.
Enjoy your transfer ban. Enjoy that transfer ban, innit?
Ron Chopper Harris, Dave Besant. Yeah, shall I do a Lee and say I know more about your club's history than you do? I love Lee.
Oh man. Anyway.
Yes.
Oh,
he was good. No, I'm not gonna mock him. So
all right. So as we kind of get closer to wrapping things up, let's Stel, let me get an idea of what your hopeful 11 would be going into that game.
Well, given that we've got a few players back, it'll probably be De Gea in goal. I think we'll go through a same system as against Paris Saint-Germain. Really, we'll go by Smalling and Lindelof, 3 central defenders. We'll go Young and Luke Shaw as wing backs. 2 midfielders. I think if Matic is fit, he'll play Matic, McTominay, and Pogba because Pogba's obviously back. But then again, Fred had a good game, so I think you'll go Fred, Pogba, and Matic, and then up top Lukaku and Rashford. That is fit players, isn't it? Is 11 players?
Okay. Oh, so Rashford is back then? I thought he was injured.
Well, he played. He scored the penalty, man.
Oh, what am I talking about?
Lingard.
I was hoping you guys had more injuries than
listen,
you're mixing up Lingard with Rashford. Are you trying to say that light-skinned players look the same, John Watson?
I would never dream of saying such a thing.
Well, at least you don't get Mavropanos and Papastatopoulos mixed up because you'll be like, oh, do all Greeks look the same?
No, I'd never say such a thing. Okay, fair enough. Ola, let's do this hopeful 11 of us. Let's go Leno in goal. Not that Czech did anything wrong yesterday, but I just feel the defense.
A couple of kickouts yesterday, man. Like what, man? But he did well. Anyway, let's Leno in goal.
Yeah. Shall we go?
I'll still go with Mustafi right back.
Oh, fuck that. Jenkinson right back for me. Ola's team, Mustafi goes right back.
He didn't do anything wrong yesterday, though.
Fuck off. He was shit. And you know what was annoying? What was annoying was my man was telling everybody to focus. And I'm like, bruh, what were you focusing on your own performance?
Bro, I saw your video, but I respectfully disagree. I don't think he did a lot wrong. I thought the whole thing was on Socrates.
Don't get twisted.
Big time yesterday, man.
Don't get it twisted.
Papastatopoulos. Is that how you say it, Stel? Is that his name? Yeah. The man was on something else yesterday. I don't know what it was hitting, man. It was on some balloons or some shit.
These Yorubas, they always talk. Listen,
too high energy, man.
Listen. Mustafi was not the worst on the pitch. But bruh, let's not act like he helped, contributed, played well. At some point, he went central defense, you know.
Yeah, I'm just saying he wasn't the worst defender. That's
he's dreadful. I'm sorry, he's dreadful. He's really bad.
Look,
I didn't know what honestly up for it. My man was terrible yesterday.
No, it's not so much stick. You know how I feel about Mustafi, man. I've been praying for this guy for seasons.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
It's beyond help. It's beyond help. I've said it from day one as well. It's like people don't need to listen to me, man. I know a couple of things about central defenders. I said it from morning. This guy is terrible. Oh, okay. Well, it's 35 million.
With
35 million. And
all right, let's go with Jenko then. Let's go with Jenko.
And I'm like,
Jenko against Manchester United.
Listen.
That doesn't even sound right.
I guarantee you he'll perform better than Mustafi.
That doesn't even sound right.
Bruh, let's not act like Jenko's done all right this season. Listen, it's not an ideal situation. I'm not
against who though? Against who did Jenko do all right against?
Bruh.
Against who?
What are you talking about? So are Reds that great that Mustafi should be?
No. I was just you said Jenko's done all right this season. I'm just asking against who.
But how is I want you to tell me how is Mustafi anymore?
Well, Mustafi's at least gave big performances in big games in recent times.
As a central defender.
In recent times, as a defender. In recent times, I've not seen that. I'm just going by what I've seen. I can only go by what I've seen. I've not seen Jenko given a big game against a big team.
I love my countryman. I love my countryman Ola, but he's been smoking that real herb. Because I don't understand how Mustafi
Mustafi is a dead defender. I'm not saying he's a good defender. I'm just trying to say, to me, he's performed in bigger games than I've seen Jenkinson do it. You can't sit there and claim to me that you've seen Jenkinson perform in any big game because it's not happened before.
Let me shut this down right now. I've seen you on this podcast talk about how the previous manager used to play people out of position.
Yeah.
Everything you're saying right now about Mustafi was in his position. And now you're telling me that you would rather someone...
Yeah, but there's mitigating circumstances.
No, you're telling me you would rather someone who plays centre-back is better than someone who plays in their position. Right, we're done.
This is mitigating circumstances.
We're done out here.
Mitigating circumstances. All right, you can have Jenko against Manchester United. Yeah.
Big Jenko playing.
Okay. I'll be there on Sunday, man.
Don't worry,
I'll be
come
all
here.
up in your WhatsApp or your voice notes. I'll be all up in that.
Come. When Jenko plays and then bangs in the winning goal for United, you watch my face. It's gonna be the smuggest jig you'll ever see.
All
So
right, but
big
boy, I'll
Jenko
be there
player.
for you, man.
Big Jenko
Look
player.
at this, man. We got Stel fucking chilling back there with the fucking bowl of popcorn.
Big Jenko player.
This reminds me of that awkward moment when I went to a mate's house back in 2000 and his mum and dad were arguing in front of everyone. And my mate was just sitting there going, fuck this shit, end my life. Needless to say, we didn't go back there again.
Central defense, even after yesterday, it has to be Socrates and Koscielny.
Yeah, Socrates and Koscielny, no doubt about that one.
Because Socrates is not.
Are we going 4-4-2? Are we going 4-3-3-5-2? What do you think the manager's gonna go with?
It'll be 4. Oh gosh, it'll be probably 4-2-3-1. I would imagine. So
okay, let's go with that then.
I have to explain.
You have to explain. Yeah. So for me, yeah, Socrates and Koscielny. Left back. Oh gosh, I forgot about this. Oh, Monreal's performance was so bad yesterday, but I feel like if Kolasinac plays,
it was the worst. It was the worst defender yesterday, by the way. Just point that out there. But you want to drop Mustafi and consider Monreal. So.
Bruh,
I'm just saying. You want to consider Monreal, but
this is why these Yorubas start making up some stuff. This is why Yorubas start making up stuff. Did you hear me claim I was going to start Monreal? No, I'm just saying that we have a problem there because Monreal was so bad yesterday. I don't know who plays on the right hand side for United. Will it be Rashford or will it be someone else?
What right wing or right back?
Yeah,
or
right wing.
Well, if we go 3-5-2, then it'll be Ashley Young.
See, Ashley Young likes putting in 9 out of 10s against us. But he's not quick.
Oh yes, he is. Oh yes, he is.
He's on that picogram with John Jones, man. I'm telling you right now, man.
And what we tend to do,
he's on that picogram with John Jones, man.
And Diego Dalot has come into his own as well. He's done really well since coming back into the fold, Dalot, and he's a menace on that right hand side. His delivery isn't great, but you know he buzzes about and yeah. So yeah.
I don't think he's Sarr quick though. You saw what Sarr did to Monreal.
Oh no.
I'll go with Kolasinac. Fuck all that. I'm going with Kolasinac. If he will be playing, we need that combination on that left hand side.
But you need reliability and intelligence, and he doesn't have either.
Something that's proven, man.
It's only defensively because I defensively I think Kolasinac is poor, but I think he's going to give us more with Iwobi than Monreal will. Monreal, I've loved him for the last couple of years as a player, but I think it could be a wrap this season for him. So yeah. Now,
isn't it funny how like we were talking about our best 11? You were like, yeah, Ashley Cole hands down would be, and now you're just like Monreal or Kolasinac, and you're arguing.
I know.
Yeah, we 8 months in, man. We 8 months in still. Give us a minute, man.
And if you notice,
just trying to remind everyone we're 8 months in.
And if you notice, our enthusiasm level has gone right down as well.
Right down. But then I'm hearing Munchies coming in. So if
that would be brilliant.
Don't get started now. I'm going to argue about this already.
If this is true, that adds to a little bit of what we could do in the future. But right now,
I would love it if you got it.
Let's not get started. I was hoping that wouldn't come up because I know Stel will relish that conversation, and I'm not prepared to go down there. Not yet. Let's wait to see if it's announced first.
Monchi in capitals, please.
No, stop it. Central midfield. Now, I'm going to be controversial. After yesterday, I don't think any of these fuckers deserve to start. However, I am going to put Ainsley Maitland-Niles there. because it's his position, because he played so well there last year at Old Trafford, was man of the match, bossed that midfield. And alongside him, I'm going to play Granit Xhaka. Now, the reason I've gone with this combination is this. For me, I think Torreira looks spent.
He ain't even playing anyways.
I think Guendouzi has been overplayed. And yeah, like you say, Torreira can't even play anyway. I think play Ainsley Maitland-Niles there alongside Granit Xhaka. Ainsley Maitland-Niles will do the defensive work. And Granit Xhaka can do whatever the fuck it is he supposedly does. Right? Have those two play there. Let's see what happens. Let's see.
Granit Xhaka to do what it does. That's playing square passes.
Well, I'm hoping
across the front or goal.
Do you know Stel rates him? Stel likes him.
Boy, Jesus.
Stel likes him as a player.
I don't know what you see, Stel, but boy, Lord help him. So you're going with Niles. I'm more inclined to go with Guendouzi. I think that's what Emery will go with anyway.
I think that's what Emery will do.
Yeah, because he didn't play a lot in the come off the bench. So I think he'll start. So I
like Guendouzi a lot as a player.
There's no Fellaini there to pull on his hair this time, and foul the lad. So
I like Guendouzi a lot as a player, but for me, I think we're starting to overplay the kid. I think he started. This is
what happens when you come to the big time.
I saw Lee mentioned it in his shout out to Lee. If you've not seen the video, go check out his player ratings video from yesterday.
Yeah.
But he mentioned it today, and I've mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. Is that I feel like Guendouzi is falling into this Iwobi kind of space where he's being overplayed from a very young age and is making a lot of errors. And you just want to protect him a little bit. And for me, I just think this is the type of game where he's either going to play really well or he's going to fuck up bad.
For me, it would have been nice if we had a player like Smith Rowe still about, because I think it's something that it could have definitely contributed to a game like this. Added more legs and a little bit more quality as well, because let's face it, the lad has got quality. I
think he's got quality. I wouldn't start a Smith Rowe in this game.
No, I'm not talking. I'm just saying contributing to this game in terms of legs, because you know what Emery is like. If he spends you in 45 minutes and you've given him everything you got in 45 minutes, he'll bring on another player that could give the same energy in the next 45. He's not afraid to make that type of subs. So he's just a player that we could do with, but we haven't got him. I think Guendouzi will play, and probably El Nini will probably be the extra legs for him in this situation that we're in. Maybe even Willock, or like you said, Ainsley. So one of those will end up coming in. Depending on how the game pans out by halftime, but I can guarantee you right now there will be a change made at halftime.
I think and that's exactly the reason why I think you go for the balance of Xhaka and Ainsley. I think Ainsley, people haven't realised it yet, but I think he's the best substitute for Torreira when Torreira is having one of his off days, and I think if he's given a chance to show what he can do, I think he'll impress the boss. So let's see what happens.
Okay.
All right. So let's quickly go through this because we're spending longer than we need to.
Number 10, Ramsey.
Number 10, Ramsey, 100%. I'm glad we're not arguing about that one. On the right-hand side, we're going to play Stel's favorite player. We're going to play Kebab Boy.
Mickey's back.
Mickey, who had a terrible game yesterday. Yesterday aside, I actually think he's done really well. Really well. And yesterday, you could argue it wasn't even his fault because he was being played right back, which is why I don't know why my man's giving Mustafi so much of a pass. My man his job was being done for him, and he's still.
He had to move centrally, man. He had.
Whatever,
Mustafi didn't get.
Let's not go down this road. Let's not go down this road. Mkhitaryan right hand side, left hand side.
Will be left.
We're gonna go Wobes because he's our. I don't care what anyone says. He's been our best player for a couple of weeks now. On up top, we're going Lacazette.
Like it's got to be Lacazette. I've had enough of Aubameyang for now, man. Like,
I do think Uber will have a point to prove at some point. I don't think he'll come against United, though. I think we need.
Oh, I don't know. He always tends to score against us, man.
Not the way he's playing. He looks shocked.
He just needs to sort his mind out, man. It's just his mind playing games on him right now, man. Like,
he needs to stop dropping deep to collect the ball. That's not his game. He works too hard. He shouldn't have to work that hard.
You think he works too hard?
I think he works too hard.
No, he goes missing in games, man. I don't know what.
Because he works too hard. That's the problem.
Nah, man. If he works too hard, at least you see the hard work.
No, you got a centre forward that drops into central midfield.
Lacazette works hard. Lacazette is the work. If you say somebody works too hard and you are testing that to Lacazette, then I'll be more likely to incline with you, because that fucker doesn't stop working. He works non-stop.
I will say this for you, Stel. I think yesterday he was attempting to work hard and do what Lacazette does. And
Aubameyang or Lacazette?
Aubameyang.
I'm talking about Lacazette here. I think.
I thought he was on about Aubameyang. We're in agreement, man.
Let me tell you about Aubameyang, right? And I know a lot of people are going to get my back about this, right? You know how you got G.I. Joe Action Man, right? In the supermarket, in your Toys R Us or whatever. That's Thierry Henry. And then you go to like your Poundland, and then you've got like GI, not Action Man, it's I don't know, Activity Man. That is Aubameyang. Like, he's like a Poundland version of Thierry Henry. Right? But the difference is with Aubameyang, because he's got such a strong social media presence, everyone thinks he's better than what he actually is. Don't get me wrong, he's been scoring quite a few goals for Arsenal, and I can't knock him for that. But his attitude in the cup game against us, you're 1-0 down, and he's trying flicks and tricks on the touchline. You don't want to see that. You're chasing a game. Why are you doing all these ridiculous, rainbow flicks, that kind of shit? It's the attitude that I don't like. And I just think that, I thought maybe I wasn't listening, but when you were talking about Lacazette, I thought you were talking about Lacazette. I think he's a much better striker than all that.
That comparison you just made, just reminded me of Lukaku and Andy Cole. Just saying.
But yeah. But I'll tell you what, you notice Stel's not argued back.
But Andy Cole won league titles and trebles. You can't compare the two.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think with Aubameyang, who the fuck knows what we're going to do to improve him? But I've said for months that I think Lacazette's a better striker. I think people are starting to see
definitely. Better player, period.
And he knows how to, I hate using this term because I overuse it. I know I do. But he knows how to read the game, in the sense that if he can see that his team is struggling, he probably does it too much, but he'll try and drop deep to help. Whereas Aubameyang will just stay like an aimless fool at the top.
He said his confidence is shot, man. You saw him on the bench the other day, like when he came off, and he just it's not that he's disinterested. You can't get the two mixed up. He's not high on confidence at the moment. When he's high on confidence, he's scoring goals. We saw him back in the last season. It was fantastic for Arsenal. Even this season, he's got like 15 goals, something like that. So you can't knock him. But I think there's something about him. I just think that he's like Batshuayi in the sense that he's too much of a social media cheerleader. Do you know what I mean? And if he tones that down and focuses, it's not fair for me to say that he should focus more on his game, because maybe he does work hard in training, and
15 goals in the Premier League is not to be sniffed at.
Exactly. And the thing is, the problem is, right, when you see what happens on social media, people see all these videos that come up, and there was one the other day of him and Lacazette dancing, people saying, well, he should be focusing more on his game. That video was taken last year, man. So it's all smoke and mirrors. And that's the problem. Like, we're kind of misled based on what their social media activity is. But at the same time, it goes back to what I said about Pogba under Jose. Stop pissing about on social media with all these videos and all this dancing, and do it on the pitch, and then do it all your social media stuff. But unfortunately, these footballers, they have to do it because they're contractually obliged to do it by their sponsors, by their team, their brand, or whatever. So it's not going to end. But you know, if
and also he's 30 years old at this point. He's not going to change.
He's a grown-ass man. He's a grown-ass man. You know, 30 years old, shaving things into your hair. Come on, man. You ain't blazing squad, for fuck's sake.
I just think, for me, I think with Aubameyang, like I've seen people like Daniel O, shout out to Daniel O, saying that he's a better striker than Lacazette. I don't think so. I've always said it from the very get-go that I think, for me, his attacking movement is second to none. That's it. That's the only thing.
Take the pace from his game, and you've got a bang average footballer.
Has
got so much more.
Truth. That is the truth. People ain't gonna like that. I know how unpopular that's gonna be. Hell, we'll get dislikes just because we said that. Oh. And I like Aubameyang. Don't get it twisted. But my worry about Aubameyang is when he starts to hit 31, 32, how good is he actually gonna be? That's my concern, because that pace ain't going to last him forever. In fact, if you want me to be real, I think he's starting to slow down now. And I think that's where a lot of his struggles are coming from. Because a man with that sort of pace shouldn't be getting caught offside.
Offside that many times. That was shocking to me. I was just looking at that like, bro, you could give this man 5. You could give this guy 5 yards.
Concentration.
That's concentration, but that also stems from the confidence. If he was a confidence player, he'd know when to play off the defender's shoulder. He'd know when to hold his line. But he's either too eager to impress or to make up for the loss of form, or he's just not focused. And again, if Lacazette wasn't suspended, he'd have played yesterday, and you wouldn't have got that result. Okay, maybe okay, I'm not saying you wouldn't have lost, but you'd have stood a better chance of getting something out of the game.
We would have had an out ball yesterday. I tell you that for fucking free. We didn't even have an out ball, even when Aubameyang was on the pitch. So
yeah, but this is the thing. Like with Lacazette, he comes deep, he holds the ball, he releases it. Aubameyang is good for from drifting deep or from out wide and making those diagonal runs, as we've seen against Cardiff at the beginning of the season. The goal that he scored, where he came from out wide and he brought the ball inside. That's what he's good at doing, because when you've got that amount of pace, that blistering pace, you can make those diagonal runs and you can't get caught, or you can run at a defender and not get caught. But the thing is, his in-game intelligence is Lacazette's is far superior.
Yeah, for me, I love Lacazette as a player. I love him. Don't get it twisted. I don't think he's a flawless finisher himself, but I think with Aubameyang, every single game he plays, he'll either be ghost or he'll miss this. He has this one chance a game miss where you're left scratching your head like, how it was harder to miss. How the hell did you miss
that penalty against Spurs? I know footballers miss penalties, even the best have missed penalties. But I'll tell you this for now, you could tell from his body language before he stepped up, he didn't look confident.
No, he didn't. He looked shook as fuck. I ain't gonna lie.
And I said on my show the other day, I think he changed his mind. And that's what you don't do that when it comes to a penalty. You know, you know
he put it in the exact same place that he scored against Spurs at the Emirates.
Yeah, I think what he wanted to do, I think, is he wanted to blast it down the middle. But I think in his mind, he believes that the goalkeeper knew what he was going to do.
Of course.
But then when the moment he ran up to look, goalkeepers, goalkeeping coaches are there for a reason, and they do they study where the penalties are being taken. That graphic that you see at the bottom where the last 5 penalties or whatever.
Yeah.
Of course they look at kind of stuff. They look at how they run up to the ball. They look at everything. It's detailed, man. And I'm not saying like, again, they did their homework kind of thing. That's effectively what the goalkeeping coaches are there for. And it was a poorly taken penalty. There wasn't any conviction. He didn't look confident. And even when Vertonghen cleared it off the line, you just knew that something's not right there. But as I said earlier on in the show, this could be the game that he recaptures his form, because it's just one of those times where Arsenal are so low in confidence that, it could take a game like United to give him that kick up the arse. So, yeah.
And also, if Lacazette was on the pitch, I think he would have
buries that penalty, man. He buries that penalty.
But I can see Ola arguing with that Chelsea.
Isn't Aubameyang the penalty taker?
I ain't arguing with him. I'm just educating him about his own club.
He's clearly come to pro. Let him enjoy himself.
He's enjoying himself. I'm just educating the lad, man. I ain't arguing with him. I'm just letting him know, you know what I mean? Just because you've won trophies since 2010 doesn't make you the biggest club. in the fucking Prem. Like, fucking do me a favor, man. You know what
I mean? But yeah, thank you everybody who's watched on a Friday night. I know
including Rob.
I including Rob. I know it's late on a Friday night. Absolutely, do me a favor, crush that like button for me. It lets me know that you guys are enjoying it, and also it lets the show get noticed. Also, one other thing, on Ola kind of brought this to my attention, but I happened to look at it before. There's a footballing podcasting awards thing, and you have at least 2 podcasters on right now, in myself and Stel.
I don't want anything to do with that award ceremony.
Oh, right, okay. I should have known. I should have checked with Stel.
I don't want anything to do with it, but go on. You do your thing. If you want to take part in a rigged competition, then you go for it.
Well, let's see how rigged that is. Let's put it to the test. Why don't you vote for Gooner Eagle Eye as the best footballing podcast, and let's see what happens.
Because I won't know if you ain't dipped your toe in the water.
I will also put the link to their Twitter, because I know they follow me as well. So I'll put the link to their Twitter in the description, along with everybody's Twitter link that's on the show today. But Ola, let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, man, you can find me on Black Scorpion 3 on Twitter, same handle on Instagram. It'll be in the description below. Go check us out on there. Talk about MMA, football, no politics. You get me?
You're an MMA fan?
Big come on, blood.
I need to talk to you about something.
Okay.
So how do you know I'm not an MMA fan? How we never had that conversation? I'm a big MMA guy as well. I'm a boxing guy first, but I'm an MMA guy second. I will say that.
Well, I'll tell you a quick story. If you Google Tam Khan, he's an old friend of mine. I used to go to college with him, and I hadn't seen him in about 16 years. And I had my regular visit to Dubai, and he lives out there. And Tam is one of the biggest MMA fighters out there. Where he's retired, but he owns the biggest gym in Dubai. He went out to the Middle East 12 years ago, became an MMA fighter, did really, really well. Opened up this gym. It's absolutely fantastic, state of the art. You know, it's unreal. And you should look at his Instagram. Like, he's got, you know, Mike Tyson goes there sometimes. Floyd Mayweather. He's mates with Khabib. It's incredible what he's done. And this is a lad that's studying at Barnet College, man. And I'm so proud of him. Like, he's got private jets. He's got, you know, John Cena going to his gym. Daniel Bryan.
That's wicked, man.
Wow. Mad. Okay. He's got his own team. And when I was out there, I wanted to meet up with him on the Monday. He goes, "Oh, Stel, I'd love to, but I'm actually filming with," I can't say who, but it's a famous actor that he's actually doing a film with out there. And it's like, wow, like, I'm so proud of the guy, man. And he's still humble, the same guy as what I knew 16 years ago. You know, the same guy. You know, the money doesn't matter, the fame doesn't matter. You know, and that's the difference. You know, and it's people like that I like seeing do well, because
succeeded.
You know what I'm saying? Because, like, you know, even he was saying, he's like, all the money, yeah, it's great to have money, great to be financially, you know, sound, and he's more than that, you know, private jets and that kind of shit. But you know, at the end of the day, you know, if your health is the most important thing, health is wealth, as they say. So yeah, but yeah, follow him on Instagram. He's
man, definitely check him out, man.
There you go. And Stel, do you want to let the people know where they can find you?
Yes, I have my 3rd Twitter account. I had to create a new one. Norwegian Bint. I've got my last account suspended. So you can follow me at Uncle Stel, and I promise I'll be much nicer. I'll use less profanities, and I'll be more.
You're crazy on Twitter, Stel, man.
No, because the thing is, right, I don't get roped into the whole, like, biting thing. I'm the one that makes people bite. But the thing is, I call people up when they deserve it. But the problem is, I tend to attack the big sharks, and the big sharks have got the Twitter police on their side. So you can't, you know, argue with someone with 28,000 followers with tits, because they just throw the whole "you're sexist, you're this and that," and then the Twitter police go. Yeah, you know, bad enough that she blows zebras' heads off with AR-47s, but you can't say nothing. But it's all right, because she's no, it's a fact. I'm sounding like Rafa Benitez. Sounding like Rafa Benitez. Get my list.
Siggy's trying to keep his streams up.
You know. No, but you know, you can't argue with the blue tick wankers. So you know, I just I'm going to keep it calm now. So yeah, Uncle Stel, because I am your uncle.
I realised I put Stel's old Twitter, so I'm literally frantically that right now. But yeah, go check that out. Refresh the page. Stel's correct Twitter will be in the description below. And you can follow me on Instagram, Gooner_Eagle_Eye. I'm approaching 200 followers somehow on Instagram. But thank you, guys.
You're doing well. You're doing well.
And also,
do you want to know a trick quickly? I've got. Sorry, do you want to know a trick on how to improve your Instagram followers?
I'm scared of this answer.
No. I've got an old work colleague, right, and she broke her foot. Right, no whatever, like she broke her foot, and she took a photograph of her foot and then put it on Instagram and put #feet, all that kind of stuff, just for a laugh. And she got people messaging her saying, "Can I buy photographs of your feet?" So foot fetish is the one, man. Just take a picture of your feet and just say, "Yeah, foot fetish," all that kind of stuff, and then you're gonna get all these followers. You might even get people wanting to buy photographs of your feet, man. You can make your money that way. You don't need to do your show anymore.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm not sure I want that kind of love. I'll be honest. I want that kind of love still. But thank you for the tip.
I was just thinking, how pretty is your feet cheek, man?
I ain't gonna lie, I'm not sure.
How pretty is your feet, blood?
But
listen, I'm glad you didn't ask him how big are his feet, because then I'd be a bit worried.
I wasn't gonna go there.
I have size 12 shoes.
You're crazy, man. This is why you should go follow Stel on Twitter, man. This is exactly.
Oh, it will never be boring. Trust me. Go follow Stel on Twitter, and you can follow me on Twitter as well, which is at Colossal Chig. Approaching 3,000 followers on there. I don't know where that came from. So thank you.
All those foot fetish photos, man. That's what it is.
And yeah, you can also support the show on Patreon, Gooner_Eagle_Eye. And seriously, I know Stel is skeptical about it, but go onto the Footballing Podcast blog Twitter's handle. I'll put them in the description below, and go and vote for Gooner Eagle Eye for best podcaster. Who knows? It probably is rigged. To be real. It probably is.
Listen, I'm probably a bit bitter because we didn't win it, and
that's a good reason.
Oh, okay, that's the actual reason.
Listen, I'll tell you the story, right? So we went to this award ceremony. It was up in Manchester. They did really well putting it on. You know, I'm not gonna lie to you, but there were certain awards that were handed out, and it was like this winner. Okay, so each award had a sponsor, right? And a lot of the awards that were won, but what we noticed, that perhaps, you know, people are going to correct me if I'm wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'll hold my hands up and apologize. But a lot of the winners had actually worked with the sponsors of those awards. So like someone, you know, say Ladbrokes sponsored the best shit wank award, I don't fucking know. The winner had actually worked with them, and the sponsor that was announcing it, they're like, yeah, we worked with this one before. And you're like, hang about, you know. And the funny thing is, one of the judges came up to me, he said, well, I voted for you, but you know, it is what it is. And he shrugged his shoulders. So yeah, I'm a little bit better, but at the same time, it's a great networking opportunity. If you want to meet new people and if you go to the awards, it's great to meet.
Get you out there, get your name out there.
Sports were there last time. I know Joel. I've known Joel for years. I've known Joel since even before he became big with Cheeky Sports, and you know, I actually finally met him face to face at the awards ceremony. Marvin Morgan, who owns Freshly Go Kid, top guy. You know, still keep in touch with him. So a lot of the guys that were there.
Can I ask you something about Joel? Because he does get a bad rep. Because I know somebody who doesn't particularly like him, right? Because he feels that apparently he's more arrogant than you would think he would be.
No. See,
he doesn't come across as like that type.
I've met him a few times, man. He definitely is far from that. I've met him a few times.
What you got to understand,
what
you got to understand is that he's got to maintain his professionalism, right? He's got. I'm sure he's got Rio Ferdinand in his phone book, Ian Wright, all these famous guys and whatnot, and you've got to find that balance between being professional and being a lad kind of thing. And perhaps this person wanted to get a tweet from him, or maybe he wanted to ask him for a favor. I don't know the story behind this cheek. I don't know. I'm just shooting in the dark here, right? But I can see this now. I've known Joel for must be about 6 years now, and you know he's a father. He's got 2 beautiful kids. He's a family man. He's doing all he can. And he's a busy guy, man. I mean, I remember speaking to him before the Champions League final in Cardiff. You know, I went there to do because I got my accreditation. I went there and I called him. I was like, "You're going to be up there?" Because I don't know, I'm really busy in this and that. And it's literally last minute if I'm going to go or not. He's a busy guy, man. And, you know, I admire him for what he's achieved. And I admire him for the energy that he has every single show, whether it be Cheeky Sports or whether it be for, you know, BT or whatever he does for Ball Street. He's always high intensity, high energy, and it's people like that I really admire because I don't have that. I'm knackered, man. Like not now, but like doing the podcast I've been doing for 6 years. I mean, I did an interview with Charlie Baker from Breaking Bad the other day, and it was a great interview. But the research, the time doing it, the editing, it's difficult. It does take a while.
That old age is catching up on you, Uncle Stel.
Yeah, that's what it is. People like Cheeky Sports Dave. I mean, Dave, he's high energy. He really is high energy, and he does a lot of stuff for other marketing companies and whatnot. And look, being in front of a camera is difficult enough as it is, right? With the bright lights and the makeup and all that kind of shit. Not I'm saying that they use makeup, but obviously for styling purposes. But to be professional at all times, but to have that character, to have that, as I said, the energy, the high intensity, the bravado, everything, it's mentally draining. So for people to say that Joel is arrogant, okay, I don't agree with it, but even if he is, so what? He deserves it. He deserves
to be fair, I've only ever heard that from 2 people. That's why I was just curious.
Yeah, I didn't see that or feel that when the times that I've met him, not even like I'm talking multiple times, but like different times. I didn't get that from him. He's actually a cool geezer, and he'll engage with you. You know what I mean? Of course. Just on a normal level. So, you know, you always catch him at the Palace game as well, cause he's. You know what I mean? It's kind of
from there, man.
Yeah. He always can. And I go to a lot of Palace games too. So, yeah.
People say, "Oh, he's only got where he is because he's mates with Krypton, Conan, and Stormzy." Far from it. Far from it. Like, you know, he's worked his ass off. I knew him before Cheeky Sports was massive. Like, it's not something that he's got lucky or he's made a few favors. If you look at the old Cheeky Sports stuff to what it okay, I don't think he does it as much now. He's got Akeem and all the others doing it, but you know, he was always like original. It was cutting edge. It was different, you know. And he's maintained that same platform, but he's switched up a bit because he's learned, he's grown, you know. And you learn from experience, man. As you, Cheek, you look at your old videos, you probably cringe.
Oh,
you know?
Of course, yeah.
But you do. It comes with practice. You learn. You know what they say. Terry Venables said practice makes permanent, and it's true, because if you keep practicing the same thing over and over again, you're not going to adapt, you're not going to evolve. But the difference is if you switch it up and do things differently, like you've been doing, getting guests and this and that, you can go on to the next level, and that's what Joel's done. So for people to say that he's arrogant, I disagree, but I'm being biased because I've known him for a while. So you know, but yeah, I'd say that even if I didn't know him for this.
Well, Joel, if by some miracle you are listening to it, please don't think it's a shot at you. I genuinely was asking because I was curious, and happy to have you on the show whenever you like. So there you go. But yeah, all right, people, we're out of here, man. Enjoy your Friday night. I hope you enjoyed the preview, and leave your comments below and hit that subscribe button. I'll be back on Sunday to do the review of the game and have more guests. Fuck it. Why not? All right. I'm out of here. Take care.
I'm going to go get hammered.
And Big Jenko in, buddy. Big Jenko.
Jenko, you know.